Global happenings today. We communicate, we analyze global news. Stay tuned.
Hello, beautiful people. Welcome back to Global Happiness Today YouTube channel. In a couple of minutes' time, we'll be heading live in court. That's Presidential Election Petition Tribunal. But meanwhile, there seem to be reactions going on over yesterday's case. Well, there was back and forth argument that took place in court yesterday, but eventually it was adjourned to today by 2 p.m. Keep a date with us as we give you live update that is happening. But meanwhile, one of the legal team or legal luminary representing Peter Obi and Labour Party have decided to air out his views over the level of frustration or frustrating antics that is being done. The moment you're going to find out what it is. And of course, one of the former gubernatorial candidates for Lagos State, Badamasi, have decided also to hail Peter Obi over the level of evidences, despite all the frustrations, what level of evidences and other issues he brought out. This to tell you that Nigerians are watching. I'm going to give you full details on that, of course, while waiting for the election, the tribunal to begin live. Meanwhile, Mr. Jibrin Okutikpe, senior advocate of Nigeria, SAN, who is a counsel to the Labour Party and its presidential candidate, Mr. Peter Obi, noted that it is very sad to see frustrating antics being condoned in court, stating it clearly that nothing seemed to be working for them. Let me quote him word for word so that we don't begin to, misquote. It's a practice of law in Nigeria is frustrating. It appears everything is so nauseating. Everyone seems helpless, except those who may be enjoying impunity. Sad to see frustrating antics being condoned. Nothing seemed to work. You go to court, and some courts not sitting and no notice. You get court orders, it is disobeyed by those who have duties to obey it, and nothing happens to them. No one come to your aid, impunity everywhere. We preach rule of law. We preach rule of law, but we have no respect for the rule of law. Everyone is lawless. Everyone is law unto themselves. And this is coming from Jibrin Samuel Okutikpe, one of the finest luminaries representing Peter Obi. When he says what he says, I can assure you they have met some sort of brick wall. I can assure you. He did not mention names, but you could always remember during the court interview that took place a few hours ago, how they were literally telling AB Mahmood, which is representing inec, the legal luminary representing inec, that look, we have served several notices to inec, your client. They have vehemently disobeyed, and the lawyer said, sorry, we are not aware. They said, no problem, maybe we'll go get our document through you, since your client, you're not aware of what your clients are doing. No problem, let's get those documents to access from INEC through you then. So said, okay, noted. So let's see if eventually talk about delayed tactics, all those objection overrules, those are just delayed tactics. Remember, whatever document INEC is willingly able to release to Peter Obi and Labour Party and even Atiku Abubakar will likely be used or will be used against them, even to Supreme Court level. So they're very careful in releasing some documents, especially those that will indict them. Okay, let's find out really what Badamasi rather has got to say about the drama going on in PEPT court. Amid the petition filed by Labour Party presidential aspirant Peter Obi against Bola Tinubu at the tribunal, a few moments ago, former Lagos State gubernatorial candidate Babatunde Badamasi took to his social media handles and shared a new post asserting that Obi was well prepared against election rigging and electoral malpractices because he had already known that both INEC and APC would rig their last election. Speaking further, Badamasi praised Obi, whereby he said that the former Anambra State governor was a master strategist in the last election. More so, Badamasi stated this in a recent post he made via his social media handle. It is quite obvious from the proceedings. Let me quote him word for word. He said, it's quite obvious from these proceedings at the PEPT, that's Presidential Election Petition Tribunal, that Peter Obi is the master strategist in this last election. Going from the antecedent of his opponent, he knew they would both rig the elections. He prepared thoroughly for that scenario. They had both working together as a late reaction to the 1 million man marches, in my opinion, though thought that beating him using the traditional method of compromising inec and then rigging in the field by using the power of incumbency would finish the job. Their rigging plan was seriously flawed and had been so since Mahmoud released INEC guidelines. If they had known, they would have campaigned better and worked harder to win fair and square. Their dishonesty has now, despite their best effort to keep it hidden, been put on display before the entire world. Every decision maker that matters in the world now knows that they cannot be trusted to play by any rules. Nigeria will remain the worst for it until justice is done. And this is coming from Madam Mosi, one of the former Lagos State gubernatorial aspirant, that's Lagos State governorship aspirant at some time, and he's saying, look, they've done Peter Obi, knowing what he's up against. I could still remember one woman in Nigeria when he was talking about Peter Obi talking about football, how Man City, Manchester, Arsenal, and all that. One woman in Nigeria said, "Organic football for Ojo Kalu. He has time for football. What are you doing analyzing football? Why can't you contest for presidency?" Peter Obi said, please hold on first. Let me go and check my bank account because I don't have money for court cases, because he knew eventually there is going to be open broad daylight rigging, which will cost you pains and will cost you to want to head to the court. Maybe there's been a lot of pressure here and there, insisting that he should go ahead and run, and that women Nigerians who covers for him, even the likes of former president of Nigeria, I'm talking about Chief Olusegun Obasanjo, was totally backing him. Afenifere totally backed him, and up till now, Afenifere is yet to tell Bola Tinubu congratulations. And this is Southwesterner. So when we keep hearing the narrative out there that Yorubas don't do this or that, I tend to laugh. We got fine breeds of Yorubas. Whatever you see there is just political, just politicians deliberately trying to divide Nigerians on ethnical lines, on religious lines. And if you're wiser than them, if you have gone beyond the antics, you realize that we are all one, loved. We love ourselves, but don't let them use their greed of politics for power and a greed for power to divide us. We are one united Nigerians that love one another. I guess that's going to wrap it up. Keep it there with us as we give you updates, live updates in a moment.